It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Welcome to the program. We have State Representative Kim Hammer on the line with us this morning. Kim, how are you, sir?
Doing great. It's a beautiful, good Friday morning, and just trying to keep everything in focus. What happened a little over 2,000 years ago for us. So
that's exactly right.
Against that, we're in good shape.
Yeah, I agree. Matter of fact, we're going to replay our It's Friday, but Sunday's a coming video. We played that at the top of the last hour, and it's also Johnny Cash Friday, folks, where we're listening to as much Johnny Cash music as we can, but it's Good Friday edition, all of his gospel hits that are really powerful stuff. So, Representative Kim Hammer, you are the state representative for District 28. You want to go ahead and give our statewide audience a rundown of geographically where that is?
Sure. It is predominantly the city of Benton, which would be south of I-30 as you come through Benton, starting at the Alcoa overpass, going all the way down to exit 114, which is the Haskell overpass, and it's everything south of that goes down through Haskell, community of Trashwood, into community of Tull, and comes out over by the Sardis area, up through Bauxite, and back out to the Target Center there at Alcoa Road. So,
Great. Like
everybody else that's a state rep, it encompasses about 30,000 people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about interim study. You recently, filed an interim study about what specific issue? I think it's something that's been on a lot of people's minds.
It is what's referred to as the PBM, which is part of the delivery system of pharmaceutical needs between the insurance company, passed down to the end user, the general public. The PBM is kind of that middle person that stands between you being able to get your pharmaceutical needs met at your pharmacy. They are the agent that is contracted to the insurance company, delegated the responsibility to manage the cost of the pharmaceutical needs on behalf of the insurance company. There was a bill that was filed this last time by Representative Michelle Gray and Senator Ron Caldwell. We actually worked hand in hand on that from the inception all the way through, getting it voted through. They were the champions on that. But while that was being developed, this bill that I introduced, I filed it last Friday. Monday in public health, it's going to be up for adoption so that we can begin the process of studying what my bill would be taking a look at.
So, what do you think the main problems are? I mean, obviously, I think the whole thing is a scam. I mean, I think it's been putting local pharmacists out of business, the pharmacy benefit managers and CVS Caremark and everything else. And I think what Ron called, I think it was good that the legislature attempted to address the issue, and hopefully it works out. There were some pharmacists saying that they were going to go out of business by the end of the year. But so your bill would that try to take further corrective action? What exactly would it do?
Well, part of the problem we've got in the pharmaceutical world when it comes to the delivery of the prescription drugs is we only have a limited number of models by which the delivery of the drugs to the consumer can be done. Right now, that's under the PBM model where they have their finger in the pot. So there is within the state of Arkansas another system where EBD, which is the Employee Benefit Division of the state of Arkansas, that is the group that represents the interest of the state employees and the public school employees. They have a working arrangement with UAMS Pharmaceutical to where they have a structure in place where they can deliver pharmaceutical needs to the customer at a much lower cost than what the Blue Cross, the Centene, and the other insurance companies are doing for their clientele, being only using the EBD model. So what my bill is going to do is look at taking that model that we're using at the state level to deliver to the needs of the state employees, the public school teachers, and apply that to what would be the Medicaid Arkansas works population. And where it goes from there, is to be determined. But it would help us get those costs under control so that these local pharmacies won't be getting bled out, for lack of a better term, the way they are now.
So
because if we can do it for the state, we ought to be able to do it to where it benefits other people as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the issue there, obviously I've talked to a lot of pharmacists, had a lot of them on the show. They're upset if because of their own tax dollars are going to pay for these policies for the Arkansas Works population, and in a way their own tax dollars are being used to put their own businesses, to put themselves out of business, and they see that as kind of the government actively working against them. So I think that would make sense. Do you expect, though, the big insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, to be favorable to this idea?
I think what could happen is they would not be favorable to it because I think part of the situation is that the insurance companies have a working arrangements with the PBMs whereby they actually continue to make money, even though the PBMs are administering the program on behalf of the insurance companies. The insurance companies have it as a controlled cost to where they can reap some of that, profit back. And then what this new concept, not really new concept, we're just going to take the concept and apply it in a different area where it's not been applied before. What it'll do is it'll minimize that margin so that it's not as costly to deliver the prescriptions, to the populations in need. Plus, it will not threaten the local pharmacy. And we say local pharmacy, and I'm all about local pharmacy, but even Walmart and Walgreens are taking a hit on this thing. They just have a bigger volume of business where they can absorb it, whereas a small independent guy can't. But you don't have a Walmart or a Walgreens in every small town in Arkansas, so you got to look at the 100,000-foot picture. But I think the insurance companies and I'm for sure the PBMs are going to fight against it because it attacks their model of delivering services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're talking with Republican State Representative Kim Hammer from District 28. Now, Kim, go ahead and tell us, you are, I guess, Senator Jeremy Hutchison not seeking re-election, and you are running for that seat, correct?
That's correct. I announced that actually January of last year. I wanted to get out way ahead of everybody and let them know my intent so that everybody could, make their decisions based on the fact that I was going to be in that race. I think that because of that decision with regards to my seat, there are two good qualified candidates. They're going to be running in the primary, and I think that by announcing early out, it allowed everybody to kind of evaluate where they are and make sure that we hold a good conservative spot, in my seat that I'm vacating in order to run for the Senate.
But you don't have any primary opposition, correct?
I do not have any primary opposition. I do have a lady that is running on the Democrat ticket for the general in November, but I do not have a primary. No.
Okay. Well, so I'm just, why, what do you hope to accomplish? Let's just talk about that. What do you hope to accomplish when you move to, I know your House colleagues are going to be mad at me for saying this, but when you move to the higher chamber?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's put a laser on the house to see if that's half an inch taller or what, that phrase is used. But anyway, one thing is I think I have a pretty good reputation of taking care of the constituents that are in my district, which is 30,000 people. If I'm blessed to go to be a senator, and I'll say this, God's word says that he already knows who's going to be holding that seat. He appoints people to the position. He takes them out. I'm just going to work hard, do due diligence, and if he wants me there, I'll be there. If he doesn't, I've got plenty of other things going on in life. But one big thing, I just want to be able to represent the constituents and help with their needs. I'll go from 30,000 to 90,000, and I think I've got a proven track record to be able to take care of that. So that's one of the main things, is make sure people's needs are met. With regard to some of the issues I'm actually going to be working on between now and the time I get elected, so when we go into session in January, I'm kind of building my platform now. I've got kind of a laundry list. Of course, this PBM interim study, it's going to be kind of a in-depth study. I'm still intensely interested in volunteer fire departments, because if we can help our volunteer fire departments, of which my district has a large number of them, if we can help them keep their fire rating at a lower level, then that subsequently keeps money in the constituents' pockets through paying lower insurance premiums because the risk factor is lower. A lot of people don't think about that, but it can make hundreds of dollars a year difference that goes back in the pockets of the people that we as legislators can't touch because it just helps on their insurance rates.
Yeah. We're talking with State Representative Kim Hammer. He's a state rep for District 28, and he is running. What's that Senate district number you're running for, Kim?
33.
33. Okay, so he's running as a Republican for Senate District 33, and has no Republican opposition. So he, you will get the nomination, and we will, see what happens when you face off with the Democrat in November. So, Kim, I want to have you on. I wanted to also have you on to talk about what you and Alan Clark did, the work that you and Senator Alan Clark did when you were heading up the Joint Performance Review Committee a couple of years ago. Now, specifically, it had to do with DCFS. And anytime I bring up DCFS, and I'm sure they're great people there. I know they're great people there. They have good intentions. But, like any government agency, there's, I think maybe sometimes the average citizen maybe falls through the cracks. A lot of people feel oppressed by DCFS, but then again, they're trying to look out for the best interest of children. But a lot of parents have horror stories. But you guys tried to get to the bottom of this Stanley case where, we ended up well, just tell us what happened. I mean, we ended up finding an email that was kind of kept from you guys, but you guys had to really dig in to hold this agency accountable to the people.
Well, a Joint Performance Review, better known as JPR, that's the standalone committee that pretty much has exclusive authority to look at anything and everything that goes on down at the Capitol, representing the interest of the view of the legislative branch. And so, it yields a pretty big stick. While Senator Clark and I were on JPR, we had two issues ongoing. Number one was the issue of looking at DHS and what they were trying to do with regards to the program for the conversion of Arkansas Works, subsequently dealing with the other agencies under the DHS umbrella. And that side was pretty much what I was handling. At the same time, Alan was handling the issue you were talking about, or Senator Clark was handling the issue you were talking about. And it became a calling and a passion to both of us as far as the areas that we were looking at, supporting and complementing each other. Alan was on the lead of the DCFS side of it. But, it's kind of like once you turn over one rock, you got to keep turning over the other and the other and the other until you get to the bottom of things. And DCFS today is better than it was when we got involved and when the governor got involved and realized that there was a big problem over there and got some new leadership. Do I think it's where it needs to be? No. Do I think it's ever going to be where I want it to be? Probably not. But that's part of our job as legislators, is to go up there and to apply the pressure to make sure that iron sharpening iron, that we get the best delivery system for the needs of the kids in the state of Arkansas. But once we started on a trail of finding some of those emails and finding some of the actions of what was happening under the administration at that time, DCFS was in shambles, and I don't think the kids' interests were being represented best, or the parents. So my hat off Senator Clark, because he took the lion's share of the work, and I think we've got a better DCFS today, but there's always room for improvement is the standard line for all of us.
I agree with that, and I think what we discovered was, it was very controversial. It didn't make the government necessarily look good, for sure, when you have, you have kids taken from a family, and with a very short amount of time, you had an email from a government employee saying actually everything's fine. I'm paraphrasing, but and then they moved this person off of the case and basically said don't talk about it, and they hid the email or deleted the email or whatever. Now, answer me this, State Representative Kim Hammer, because Senator Clark has said that there was the longer the investigation went on, or you guys are trying to do this fact-finding mission, that there was pressure to kind of leave this alone and go do something else. Did you feel that same pressure to kind of not dig into this and follow the breadcrumbs?
I think that atmosphere existed when we began, and that, yes, there was a resistance factor because there have been years of activities, I think, that had not been handled properly. And, it just takes one event. I'll use this analogy for your hunters out there in your listening audience. We run dogs in our deer camp. All it takes a bloodhound is one drop of blood to get on the trail, and that bloodhound isn't going to get off that trail until he finds where the bleeding is coming from. And that, I think, kind of captures what Senator Clark and I did under the JPR time frame that we had, and that was, we got on the trail and we were going down the trail. Unfortunately, time ran out for both of us as far as our, chairmanship of the committee, and that I wish we would have had a little longer. That perhaps we could have kept going, because here's part of what people need to understand. You can have a good leader at the top, and you have people that are embedded in these agencies that have been there for years, that are set in their mindset, and you almost have to go in and do literally hand-to-hand combat to get them out of the foxholes that they're in, so that we can change the culture of the way people look at doing state business, whether that's DHS, DFA, or any other agency. And it takes time to get those people out and get other people in to where we can turn the ship. Because I still think we have to look at, why are kids being taken in? Are they being taken in too early? But all it takes is one bad front page article of a kid not being removed from a home and something tragically happening, and all of a sudden everybody is guilty. And there's got to be balance there. So that we can go in and see if we need to continue to change processes, make sure the kids are protected, but eliminate the redundancy and the bureaucracy in the process.
Absolutely. State Representative Kim Hammer, I really appreciate you coming on. I'd love to do it again sometime. Hey, one last question. I've always wanted to hunt deer with running dogs. So you run dogs at your deer camp, huh?
Run deer with dogs at our deer camp. We got about 15,000 acres.
Wow.
I've always had good experiences, and if you want to go, I'll be glad to get going with you. Come on down and take a trip.
Hey, that would be great. I've just always been curious, how it works, and you stalk the deer, right, instead of just sitting in a stand somewhere, right?
Yeah, and that's, you turn the dogs out early in the morning or throughout the day, and let the dogs do their thing. They'll kick the deer up. We don't catch deer at our camp. We kill deer at our camp. So we're not a catch and release program with the deer.
That's great.
But it is a good family sport. I mean, there are families been doing this for years down there, and they're solid families that produce good kids, that produce great grandkids.
Wow.
And it's an excellent sport.
I appreciate it. State Representative Kim Hammer, best of luck in your Senate race, and we'll have you on again soon.
Anytime, Paul. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Folks, we got to take a break. It's Johnny Cash Friday. Good Friday edition. Good Friday to you.